Have you ever seen someone who makes 10 times, 20 times, 30 times more than you do? However, when you look at them, they're not more intelligent, they're not more credible, maybe they don't work as hard as you do, and yet for some reason, they seem to be able to get results that are a little mind-boggling to you. Now, the first time I saw that was when I was probably 25 years ago, and I decided to become an entrepreneur. I decided to go and make it on my own. And at that time, I just needed $3,000 to $5,000 to get by. There's no way in my mind I could conceive making 50, 100, 200,000 a month. And it wasn't until I actually was reading a blog from a virtual mentor where he shared a case study, one of his companies that was doing 300 to 400,000 a month with 2 employees, and it seemed like it worked effortless and on autopilot. Now this rattled my brain, and it started me on a path to start asking different questions and to start looking for better ideas. Now, I'm Ed O'Keefe. Today in this video, I'm gonna walk you through exactly how actually 10xing where you currently are to where you wanna be is a heck of a lot easier than working harder and trying to implement more stuff in your life. Quick funny story was, at that time, I was selling products that cost maybe $47. And now in some of our companies, we sell products that are worth $18,000 to $50,000. And for many years, we sold licensing at that level all the time. And I have tons of clients right now that sell coaching clubs, mastermind, licensing, software that start at $1,000 all the way up to $65,000. And so what I want you to do is suspend any disbeliefs you might have, because I had a mentor tell me this once and it really struck a chord with me. For you to 15x or 20x, maybe 30x or 100x, or even for some of you 2 to 10x, where your current results are to where you want to be, it's not going to require that amount of hard work. It may just require a different vehicle, a different way of looking at things. And that's the goal of this video. So let's jump in. So one of the core concepts that we live by with our coaching clubs, our masterminds, everything we do is money's attracted to speed. That doesn't mean you get speed busy doing everything. It just means that when you come across a big idea or something that's going to transform your life, we get to and we try and get a tangible result within 24 hours. And so the first couple concepts and big ideas that I want you to look at is working harder is not going to be the solution to having exponential results. Otherwise, you'd already be there. Wouldn't you agree with that? So if I said, hey, all you're gonna do is work 10x harder, you'd probably say, Ed, I can't work 10x harder. I'm already working 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 hours a day. And on the weekends when I'm with my kids, I'm thinking about work. Like, I can't squeeze the lemon any harder to get the lemonade. So there. And so we're going to cover that. What I found is that when you have the breakthrough, and listen, hands up, I've fallen into this trap many times. And it's only when things get bad enough that you start evaluating this and be like, I can't work harder, and the results I'm getting aren't working for me. Now, maybe it's been working on me to come to this conclusion or to come to this spot, but that's one of the big things. That's a big idea we're going to work at. Number 2 is, what I'm going to say was, people that are under $100,000 or $200,000 in income usually are the hardest workers you'll ever meet. And when I look at that from an equation, they're usually people that are the doers. And that could be even in sales or even in entrepreneurship, or even in like just you're implementing things. And we'll talk about why that is in a moment. But they get stuck because they run out of time. It's just a constant trading time for effort mentality. And people that are over $1 million, what they're able to do is they're able to create more value with leverage. And so the question for you today is going to be like, what leverage points can we start pulling immediately, like starting today, that can make that exponential jump for you? And number 2, the big idea number 2 is 10xing your income is a lot easier than 2xing. And the reason that is I'm trying to think, I forget the guy's name who wrote the book. I think it's Ben Hardy wrote the book, 10x is easier than 2x. I listened to a podcast from him. He sounds awesome, so please check it out. It might have been with Dan Sullivan as well. But the reason is because it's easier to 2x mentally. Like I can get there. Like you think, okay, I can get there. I can mentally see myself going from, I'm going to use round numbers, 100 to 200, right? And so if I just work harder, if I just get the extra client a month, I'm going to get there. The problem with that is that you're using the same vehicle with the same belief systems, with the same mindset, and we're already squeezing every ounce of energy from your day that you can. Okay, your current systems aren't going to allow for the leverage, if that makes sense. And then, so our goal here is to get you thinking, okay, 10x is easier than 2x. I'm just possibly just one slight edge away from making the difference. Okay. Number 3 is the best vehicles for what are the best vehicles for leverage, and what's my path and plan? So we're going to cover that by the end of this video. Like Ed, what are the best vehicles for leverage? Because that's where it's really going to come down to. Now, the one thing I want to tell you is that let's go to the whiteboard. Is that the difference between people that are stuck at a certain level is that they're not able to create more value for more people. Now, you've probably heard that before. So you're like, Ed, that's boring. Okay, give me something good. So here's a different way of thinking of it. If we start solving problems for people with a lot more money that have bigger problems, and we're able to reach more of those people faster, which is through the vehicle, okay, we're able to get results much faster. Now let's go through that. All right, cool. So we're going to be talking about speed, right? So here's speed. Speed is everything, because you're impatient. You want to get it done. You don't want to be wasting a lot of time. And at the end of the day, is if we can just get you results faster, it solves a heck of a lot of problems. Wouldn't you agree with that? Let's say, I can tell you so many examples of where in my businesses we had to make pivots. And then once we had to make those pivots, cash flow immediately starts dropping, that we got to hustle quickly, find the best buyers, find the best leverage point, and then get the cash flow back up and start adding more assets behind that, okay? So speed matters, not only for our confidence, but for our bank account when it comes to running a business. So what the key thing is we want a faster result for a better buyer. So we got to get a faster result for a better buyer. Now, if you've watched any of my other YouTube videos, you'll see that we talk a lot about up-leveling the quality of the person who can pay us money, and that it's so much easier to serve someone who's got money and a big problem than it is to try and squeeze more money out of people that don't have money. And so with every client I work with, we look at a couple simple things. Number 1, where's your better buyers, right? Now, this isn't brand new. Chet Holmes created it, talked about it back in the day. He tells a phenomenal story about, because this is one of the big mistakes, instead of trying to make the whole market this total addressable market, they call it TAM. Let's go get all these people here and let's put them into a funnel where we make sales. Okay? That might make sense for software companies that got funded with hundreds of millions of dollars, right? I'm assuming that you're like me, you're either an expert of some sort, you're a sole entrepreneur or a bootstrap entrepreneur, that you made it, you're now building out a team, you now run events, you run seminars, or you're looking to sell products and eventually run seminars and impact people and grow your wealth through your wisdom, your intellectual property, maybe your software, whatever it might be. But you have to have influence in a category. Does that make sense? And so when people have to have influence in a category, they normally in order to grow the business. And so the question always is like, if we want to 10x the revenue that's coming in, how do we do that? You don't go after everybody, okay? This is the mistake that forces everybody to either go out of business, run out of money, have problem after problem that only cash flow can solve. But the problem is you have to build teams, you get spread so thin. What I want to know immediately, say if we're on a consult right now, is I want to say, hey, listen, who are your best buyers? And let's go get 10x the amount of those buyers, okay? Perry Marshall in his book, 80-20 Rule, talks about like most people have already overspent on their leads and the customers of about 80% of their customers. They've already lost money on them. So who are the most profitable customers that you ever have? Go deeper on that and let's go get them. Now, the story that Chet Holmes talks about is that when Charlie Munger, who was Warren Buffett's partner, hired him years and years ago to help his advertising agency grow, is there was approximately, I believe the number was like 2,500 magazines in the, not magazines, 2,500 potential people that could advertise with their magazine. Okay. And what Chet did is he looked at it and he said, okay, you guys keep going after the 2,500. What if we only go after 300? Okay. And let's go after 300 that fit our criteria, that if we got just even 10% of those 300, it would easily 10x the company. And month one, number one, and let me back up. The reason why you do that is because now you could pour all your advertising budget, all your energy, all your time, all your resources into that segment of your best buyers. And sometimes, guys, I'm just letting you know, you're probably like, Ed, that's not sexy and attractive. I want to have a book up on Amazon. I want millions of people to know me. I want to be flying a jet with Tony Robbins, whatever that might be, okay? But you can get there a lot faster if you do what I'm telling you first. Because right here, this is where it really gets good. Is so what they did is they said, okay, cool, we're going to spend all our money. So instead of sending 2,500 people one letter every 2 months, we're going to send these 300 people a letter every single week. Does that make sense? Because I took all the assets, put it into one thing, and we're able to focus. And so month number one, no results. Month number two, no results. Month number three, they get one phone call. Month number four, they got 12. And within 1 year, they had the majority of the 300 advertising with their magazine, more than they could even handle. It grew the business exponentially, put them on yearly contracts. And the next thing you know, Charlie Munger went over to Chet Holmes and said, can you do this same strategy with my other companies? And that's how you grow a business very quickly, okay? Now, 4 months, that doesn't sound attractive. It's a lot better than doing the same old where you're spread across you're spreading your resource, time, effort, and energy across too many things, and you're trying to hope something will work. Well, if you just forge it where there's already proof that it's going to work, you're going to get great results, okay? So that is the better who, okay? Now, like I've said before, people with problems want to solve their problems. Rich people with problems want to get rid of their problems a lot faster than poor people are capable of, okay? So if you go to a rich person that has a problem and you have a unique ability to solve it, you're going to make a lot more money, okay? So now, when we say, what problems are we going to solve? Now, I'm going to save you guys a lot of time, effort, and energy because you're not going to make the mistakes I made. So when I first went into, we'll say the first time I went into the dental profession, I sold a product. I sold a $1,000 product. And then, as I've said, if you've watched me before, we took that $1,000 product and our big breakthrough, $997. Isn't that funny? If you just add another, I'm about to tell you a funny story. If you add another 9 on top of it, it becomes 10,000. And what's really interesting is that you could sell things for 10,000 just the same as you could sell them for 9,000. In fact, those are easier buyers to work with. My big breakthrough was when we took one element of this product and we started selling it for 18,000 up front. That dramatically changed the trajectory of that business and the profitability of that business. We were up to, on the 997 product, we were up to about 100K a month, but I was barely getting by. I was able to pay some bills. I was able to get some results. I felt good because we had traction, but I wasn't my life wasn't changing. Like, sure, I was able to pay a little bit of rent and I had surpassed that 10X goal. You remember what I told you at the beginning of this thing? Wow, I'm now doing 100,000 a month in revenue. And yes, I was making around $10,000 a month after taxes. And after I bought a car, I'm now paying rent because I finally moved out of my coach's basement that I was renting through manual labor and volleyball. I still wasn't really making a lot of money. And it wasn't until we had the mental breakthrough of I figured out who my best buyer was. And then instead of creating more manual labor and more work, which I did make that mistake, the first thing I did was just create another course. These better buyers didn't want another course. These better buyers wanted a better solution that worked faster. And so that's when I created licensing. And so we were equipping them with an advertisement and a system. Okay. Now, here's where I've made a mistake, and I'm going to share this. One of my mentors, Myron Golden, talks about the 4 level of values, and it's directly correlated to our ability to make money, okay? And for speed's sake, I'm going to move through this faster than Myron does it. But the first level of value that Myron talks about that blocks your ability to increase your earning potential is something he calls implementation. And everybody wants to buy implementation because it allows them to not have to do anything. But the problem with implementation, if you're not somebody who's uniquely gifted at building out processes and teams, which I'm going to talk about in a second, but if you're the doer of the thing, you will always be trapped in a time for money equation. You can't outwork the time. You're only allotted so much time, and you're only able to pay so much for the implementation, because implementation in general in any industry becomes a commodity, even if you can do it better. I can go to Upwork right now, find a VA in South Africa and South America, whatever, that's charging $5 to $10 an hour. And you can argue with me, yeah, but they suck. Yeah, I get that. But guess what? Most of them are sitting by the computer working 1,400 hours a day. They are trying to do this at a higher level. Now there's VA companies, whatever. There's people that are dedicating their life to level 1. So you, my friend, if you are stuck in this, and trust me, agency work is stuck in these first 2, because the next one is people, you're leveraging through people and tech, okay? Now, this is where I think he calls it community or cooperation. This is where you become like a manager of your company. And you could be the CEO, but you're managing it. And a lot of these companies are ad agencies, are SaaS development agencies, or whatever it might be. And there's a lot of opportunity here, okay? But the thing about these 2 levels is that unless you're extraordinarily good at using people, technology, and whatever, you will be capped out. Because, again, the resources and stacking is just very difficult. That's why when you see people talk about using, like, say, Go High Level or ClickFunnels or whatever it might be, and then start your own agency, the promise is, hey, how to make $10,000 a month with your own agency. The presupposition on that, the premise is that you're going to be stuck in this rat race right here. And this can go anywhere between your company generating 10 to most cap out at 50,000 in revenue, but then your costs pick up. You literally got to get around the corner of 120K revenue a month in order to start seeing money come to the bottom line. Now, there's better. I'm not against selling SaaS. I'm not against, that's some of the best forms of highest leverage, which we'll get here in a second. And then the next higher level where you chunk up, I put millions, is our message and our ability to influence. Now, I'm changing a couple of Myron's phrases, even though he's much smarter than I'll ever be, and he's much wiser. But when you chunk up, so this is the doing part, this is the managing part. Now I'm going to go up to our ability to use our mouth to now create leverage for us. Does that make sense? And this is like self-evaluation. Where are you stuck at? Are you trying to be the hardest worker that people know? Because we're trying to solve a problem for a better buyer, but how are we solving it for them? Okay. And this is where we start using our words, and that's where we jump out of being like a doer of things or executor of things for others, and now you're an influence for those people. You're using your words to coach, lead, transform, create, and you're building out different frameworks. You're moving more into a coaching, leadership, speaker, podcaster, YouTuber, like what I'm doing right now. And you're using your communication and you're leveraging platforms and possibly and I would highly recommend one-to-many. We'll talk about vehicles in a second in order to get that out. And this is where just disconnecting my time for labor into my message becomes my core vehicle to where I communicate. And then I use the leverage and platforms. I'll go much more deeply into that on a different training coming out soon. Check our channel because it could be up by the time you're watching this. on how to actually utilize technology to get your message out. And think about this. If I came over and I said, hey, you're going to go speak in front of 100, 200, 300 people, and would you, potential clients, would you do it? And I don't know a person that would say no. Let me tell you this. When you start posting on your YouTube channel, you're going to get 50 views. You're going to get 100 views. You may get 1,000 views. You may get 3,000 views. And these are all people that are potential buyers of your thing. So up to our next level, which is imagination, okay? And now imagination is where he said, this is the highest level. This is the Steve Jobs level. But we don't have to be a Steve Jobs in order to utilize our creativity, imagination to create assets that produce income, okay? Now, I'll go more in depth, I guess, on this in a future one because I got to run out of time. But imagination is where I use imagination to create licensing, which then was my leverage service, right? And then we did some coaching, which was in our level 3. And that is what catapulted the business, okay? So when we look at our imagination, we now ask ourselves, how do we start getting out of our trap of doing this? And we come over here, okay? We go into the vehicle. Okay, so what's the vehicle, folks, that's going to help you start leveraging and doing what you want to do faster, okay? Now, a lot of people don't realize that at the same time and rate that you could be, we'll go to white, the same time and rate that you could be speaking to 15 prospects one-on-one in your area, manual labor, you could simply choose a different vehicle. And that vehicle, this is vehicle, could be a book, could be a video, could be a podcast. I like saying YouTube videos because right now when you post this on this video right here will go on YouTube, it'll go on LinkedIn, go on Facebook, it's going to get chopped up, get put on all the other socials. But YouTube is literally where people go to solve problems. So why wouldn't you put your best questions that your best buyers ask on your YouTube channel, and you send your leads from your CRM to your YouTube channel? And then YouTube, what's beautiful about YouTube is that YouTube has an internal retargeting system in and of itself that it's literally going to do the hard work, retarget organically the people that are consuming your content already. So all you got to do is start posting more videos up on the old YouTube, and you're going to have your best buyers continually to consume your content. It's never been this easy to start utilizing other third-party platforms that already have your prospects. They already have your clients. They already have your customers. Now, can you help them out a little bit by sending them some of your leads on your database? If they're your best leads, yeah, send them there. And there's so many positive things about this. You'll be seen as the third-party edification. You'll be seen as a thought leader. It's the fastest way. Like one of the things we do with people is vehicles. Like we interview. We have a program where we interview experts. It's one of our services. We interview experts. Why? Because for me to get on a podcast might take 3 weeks. By the time they actually post it, maybe another 3 weeks. I don't want to wait that long. I want to get interviewed. I want to have all my sales questions answered so that I can send them out to my best buyers. That's what we do for people. It's one of our services. With that, it's a vehicle. Is that a good vehicle? Yeah, we sold $65,000 coaching packages with that type of vehicle. It's pretty amazing, right? Challenges. So let's see what else. Sales letters. These are all great things, folks. I can go through and we've used all of these. So when we sold our licensing, we use simple webinars with sales letters. Okay. Easy peasy, right? And then with these guys, we would do simple phone calls to finish the close. But we never got on phone calls with guys, maybe like for 3 minutes or 2 minutes, just qualifying them until they already consumed the video, went through our webinar, read the sales letter, or they came in person because we do live events. And sorry, that's my favorite actually. Live events. So these are all your vehicles because we can take the same amount of people that we would possibly talk to one-on-one in a full month and do it in 1 day or do it once a week, okay? And by building out these types of assets, okay, we now have income that follows them. And so what I really want, if I could do anything in this video today, would be to encourage you that This is where you got to double down. This is the future of marketing online. Yes, do we use AI? Yeah, I love AI. We use AI. This will get edited with AI. It'll get posted. We'll take it. We'll turn it into emails. We'll do all this stuff. Yes, 100%. AI will do that, right? But your ability to communicate to your best buyers in a way that allows them to realize that you solve their problem in a unique fashion is by far the fastest way to exponentially increase your income. 10x, 20x, 30x, 100x. Because if you're in any kind of investment stuff or any whatever, or you want to do deals, joint ventures, your best joint ventures, your best partnerships are all going to come from your best buyers. They're not going to come from just doing the same as one-on-one, because you're trading manual labor. Now, do one-on-one calls work? Yes. Does ads to cold stuff work? Yes. But it's not really the model that I've tried all that. It's not fun for me. I don't like doing it. I like doing group stuff, one-to-many, high leverage. As you can tell, I like speaking to cameras. It's a learnable skill. It's something that if you can see the vision of, hey, I just want to do this faster, then you're going to set 1 day a week for 2 hours a week where you're like, I'm going to create 3 to 4 videos. I'm going to create value. And all I'm going to do is solve the questions of my best buyers have. And then we're going to start posting them up on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. And I promise you, out of the blue, people will start showing up, right? Some people will, just like the Chet Holmes analogy, some people will show up in month 1. Or maybe there's nothing in month 1. Maybe you get 15 views and you feel like a loser, like I did the first few times. And that's why you have to have people around you who are encourage you and tell you you're doing it. You're doing the process, man. Stick with the process. And you just got to do that. So now month 4, though, it's just you're start going to see the wave go. But I like to say it's like the tsunami of success. Write this one down. It's like the tsunami of success. It's hundreds of miles offshore. An earthquake happened. And under the shore, the wave built and built. And it's coming all the way to shore. And the people at shore don't know it until it's too late, right? I know there's alarms and stuff like that. Praise the Lord. But let's just say conceptually for your success is no one around you is going to see it week 1. Except when you do post, you may actually get some clients. I'm just telling you, you might get one in the first day. You might get one in the second day. You might get one in 3 hours. I remember posting a video on YouTube, texting out the first, this was actually a few months ago. It's pretty funny. We were doing a live event. We're doing a live event in Tampa. And I sent a note and I was like, hey, if anyone wants to get interviewed, I'm visiting my daughter who goes to college down there. And if you want to do it, I'll be there. Okay. And boom, within literally 4 minutes, I had somebody who watched the YouTube video and texted our office phone, and I get notifications on that because the high ticket stuff I like dealing with. I like being notified when leads are coming in for the custom stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, he already got, this is so crazy. That is how it works. It's a great conversion mechanism. It's so many things. So anyhow, hopefully you like this video. If you like this video, I'd like to challenge you to do a couple things. Number 1, watch our most previous video on how we actually built an info empire with 0 experience, and where I go more in depth on my transition from lower price to selling the licensing. I think you'll really enjoy that. And number 2, if you like this, I'd love to have you out to one of our live events. We do 2-day intensives where we work on your offer and we turn it from whether it's $500, $1,000, $5,000, and I teach you about creating a Mount Everest offer. So if you're selling something at $5,000, 10x it. If you're selling at $50,000, get a $100,000 offer in there, because it'll make all the sales much better for your other stuff. And the other big lesson is that your content will start speaking better to your most better buyers. That's not how you say it. Your best of the best buyers, and naturally you'll start attracting them. It'll shift your brain. So that'd be in person, and we love to have for that. Links in the description. And then the other option, virtual, is we run Power Days and our virtual challenge every 4 to 6 weeks. So links should be in the description. Otherwise, please leave a comment, ask a question. I'll answer it on my next video. I'm Ed O'Keefe. Thanks for being here, and we appreciate you.